Hi boys and girls, today is Friday, so let's pull out our calendar and we'll look at what the numbers are on our calendar for today. Here's the Friday column, and what are those numbers that make up the date today? Can you see them? You can look on your piece of paper at home as well. It's a 2 and a 4. So we know it's Friday, April 24th. A 2 and a 4 make the 24th on a calendar. So let's go ahead and trace that in. I will do mine. And I'm going to let you go ahead and sign in your first and last name so that we can get started on our exciting science project today. We're going to be doing a seed project. We're going to start it today, and then on Monday we can check in and see how our seeds are doing. And it can take up to a week to see some progress with our seeds and see what happens. So we'll start it today, and by next Friday, we can really take a look and see what happened to them. But before we start our project, we're going to read a really great book called The Tiny Seed by Eric Carle. And this tells you a little bit about the life cycle of a seed, how it starts out, what happens to it. So I think this is a really great book to start our lesson with today. So get comfortable and I will read it to you. Okay. It is autumn. A strong wind is blowing. It blows flower seeds high in the air and carries them far across the land. One of the seeds is tiny, smaller than the others. Will it be able to keep up with the others? And where are they all going? Do you see all the seeds? Which one do you think is the tiny one? I think it might be that one. Let's watch and see what happens next. One of the seeds flies higher than the others. Up, up it goes. It flies too high with the sun's hot rays. They burn it up, but the tiny seed sails on with the others. Can you find this tiny seed now? There it is. And see if you can find the one that burned up from the sun's rays. Oh, that's the one. Another seed lands on a tall and icy mountain. The ice never melts and the seed cannot grow. The rest of the seeds fly on, but the tiny seed does not go as fast as the others. Now they fly over the ocean. One seed falls into the water and it drowns. The others sail on with the wind, but the tiny seed does not go as high as the others. One seed drifts down onto the desert. It is hot and dry, and the seed cannot grow. Now the tiny seed is flying very low, but the wind pushes it on with the others. Finally, the wind stops, and the seeds fall gently down on the ground. A bird comes by and eats one of the seeds. The tiny seed is not eaten. It is so small that the bird does not see it. Now it is winter. After their long trip, the seeds settle down. They look just as if they're going to sleep in the earth. Snow falls and covers them like a soft white blanket. A hungry mouse that also lives in the ground eats a seed for its lunch, but the tiny seed lies very still, and the mouse does not see it. Do you think that's the tiny one? I think so. Maybe it's that dot, but I think it might be that there. Now it is spring. After a few months, the snow has melted. It is really spring. Birds fly by, the sun shines, rain falls, the seeds grow, so round and full that they start to burst open a little. They are not seeds anymore. They are plants, First, they send roots down into the earth. Then their little stems and leaves begin to grow up toward the sun and the air. There is another plant that grows much faster than the new little plants. It is a big, fat weed, and it takes all the sunlight and the rain away from one of the small new plants, and that little plant dies. Do you see the big weed? He's taking up everything from this plant, the sun and the water, and he's taking it all away from that little plant so he can't survive. But look, I think that must be the little seed and how it's growing into a little plant. And here's a few others as well. The warm weather also brings the children out to play. They too have been waiting for the sun and springtime. One child doesn't see the plants as he runs along and, oh, he breaks one. Now it cannot grow anymore. Do you see where the little seed is? Now it's a little plant. The tiny plant that grew from the tiny seed is growing fast, but its neighbor grows even faster. Before the tiny plant has 3 leaves, the other plant has 7, and look, a bud, and now even a flower. But what is happening? First, there are footsteps, then a shadow looms over them. Then a hand reaches down and breaks off the flower. Do you think that plant is still alive? No, it's been taken away by somebody. Oh, a boy has picked the flower to give to a friend. It is summer. Now the tiny plant from the tiny seed is all alone. It grows on and on. It doesn't stop. The sun shines on it and the rain waters it. It has many leaves. It grows taller and taller. It is taller than the people. It is taller than the trees. It is taller than the houses. And now a flower grows on it. People come from far and near to look at this flower. It is the tallest flower they have ever seen. It is a giant flower. All summer long, the birds and the bees and the butterflies come visiting. They've never seen such a big and beautiful flower. Look how lovely that is. Now it is autumn again. The days grow shorter, the nights grow cooler, and the wind carries yellow and red leaves past the flower. Some petals drop from the giant flower, and they sail along with the bright leaves over the land and down to the ground. The wind blows harder. The flower has lost almost all of its petals. It sways and it bends away from the wind, but the wind grows stronger and shakes the flower. Once more, the wind shakes the flower, and this time, the flower's seed pod opens. Out come tiny seeds that quickly sail away on the wind. And that is the end of the story. So, what do you think is going to happen to all of these seeds? I think the same thing is going to start again, and they're going to blow through the air, and some of them will be burned up by the sun, and some of them will be eaten by birds, and maybe a few will be able to become plants, just like this big, beautiful flower, right? So what were some of the things that this flower, this plant, needed to become a big, beautiful flower? Did it need sunlight? It did. Did it need rainwater? It did. It also needed to make sure it found a safe place to be buried in the ground, and that's where it gets its nutrients from the soil, right? So, and it needed to be able to have a safe place where a weed didn't grow over it, and lots of other things to become a big, beautiful flower plant. All right, so next we're going to pull out of your bag of goodies your little sprout house. So you can get this ready, and in our next video, we get to start our experiment.